Hey guys, Bill from the BBZ. We're out here in the garage. We just got back from Plummer's Arctic Lodges, and man, we had just an incredible time this year. But every year you get to go up there, it's all about how much you learn. It's time on the water. So there's a lot of learning curve this year. Next year is going to be incredible. I'm bringing out the big guns to show you guys some really cool tricks that we've been kind of holding in our back pocket for a while. But biggest thing is making baits that, first of all, that are going to hold up to the fish up there. You're limited to the weight, how much product you can take, how well they're built. So I pulled out the old fly tying box my dad got me when I was a kid. So this thing, not dating myself, but this thing's over 50, 60 years old, that fly box right there. And went to do it center, got some molds. We got the new BBZ Screamin' Seaman jigs, monster lake trout jigs. There's a trick on the hook size, how you pin in these trout so they don't twist and pop off. But some really cool stuff. I'm actually making jigs right now. If you guys have never been up there, make sure you reach out to them. There's some spots open right now for 2025. But check out some of these jigs. If you guys have any questions about plumbers, reach out to me and I'll tell you everything you need to know. But cool stuff, and check out what we're doing over here in the garage. Boy, it stinks getting old and having to wear sunglasses or glasses. But here's the jig. So we got 2 ounce. They're powder coated 3D eyes. I put extra resin on them because the biggest thing is I hate when you go out there with the bait and it falls apart on you, and you're so far, you're not going to have a ton of them with you, so you want to make sure that they're durable and put together as much as possible. Gamakatsu 8/0 hooks. These things, the deal is keeping that big round bend. What happens is these fish will rotate that jawbone on those big monster lake trout. They're shaped a little different, so you want that hook to penetrate, get locked and stuck in there and bind, and you don't want it to roll on it. When they start rolling, you don't want to roll out. So the nicest thing about making your own stuff is you can make it as beefy as you can. So what we got is we have a 200D diameter vamp fly tying thread. We're going to do basically a Casper. I'm going to go through this. And like I said, I use extra thread. I make these as durable as possible because I want them to last as long as I can. So what we're going to do is put a base down on the thread. And I'll show you some, hey guys, I'm not a pro at tying flies. I've done it for years, but this is all just my own stuff that I love to do. The fat fly and all this stuff is all simple stuff. The biggest thing on these heads is I have to really bulk up the front part of it, just to try to keep that level as possible after you start building the fly. So I put a little extra on the front part and get a taper on it. And what that does is when I start filling in the bucktail, it all lays out right. So once I get it done right there, take my scissors, cut that off. And here's the trick to the trade is over on Amazon, you want to get some high viscosity UV resin, and I get bottles of this. It's actually pretty inexpensive, but man, this is cool stuff. So I put a dab on the threads, and this is just to lock down my base, and I use the UV light just for a few seconds to get that all taken care of. Now once that happens, we turn around, we bring the jig up flush, and the fake faux bucktail, there's tricks to it. Now, like I said, I hated doing bucktails because you had to stack it, you had to make everything right. I'm not saying that this is the exact way you're supposed to do it, but this is how I put my baits together, and there's a method to the madness. So I want to get a good distance for the tie down, and I want to flare and open up over that hook. So I'm going to find a good chunk like this, and I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to take my trusty little scissors, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut. Okay. And the nice thing is, like I said, you don't have a lot of waste like you do in bucktails. So key is, there's your hair. I get it. Now what I do is I put it right in the center and offset it closest to me, depending on which way I'm tying. I'm going to try to start this, and I grab a pile of it, and what I want to do is once I get it locked down, I do about a dozen wraps, and as that wrap goes around, it tightens up that hair harder and harder, and then I'm going to take it apart, take it off the vise. Now, see how that is set up and kind of look dorky and not flared right? Here's the trick. You pull it off, take your thumb, and you want to start mending, and you push with your thumb back and forth, and you could roll. What you're doing is you're rolling that hair, and you want to flare it. And what I try to do is I try to flare it. Now, on the smaller jigs, you could pretty much build it with 2 clumps, you know, a top and a bottom, and you could rotate all the way around the head. If it's like a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce or even a 1 ounce. But what I want to do is I want to flare that hair so it's even. It's got a nice even look right over the top of it, just like that. Okay, so that's part 1, and that looks pretty darn even. So once we get that all taken care of, then you put it back in the vise. Then I'm going to rotate it around. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom. I get a clump of hair. And the biggest thing is, you know, it all comes to feel. You're going to have to take a few to see how much you're going to need, how much hair here and there you're going to need to get it taken care of. And the cool thing is once you get the right length off of your hair, you know exactly pretty much where to cut it each time. So I'm going to do the same thing on this. Bring that across. I'm going to go about halfway up because I did the neck on the front part. Just get it started. Do a handful of wraps going back towards the collar, just so the hair doesn't fall out when I do it. Then we're going to take it back out again. So you see how it's all bunched up like that? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to sit there and I'm going to use my thumb and I'm going to push on it, and I'm going to start rolling it back and forth, and I'm going to get it to roll around that neck of that collar so there's no big clumps at all, but it's nice and even. So now look at that, baby. Look at that. So that's part 2. So we put it back in the clamp. And like I said, if this was a smaller jig, like a 1 ounce or 3/8 or a 1/2, you could almost be done with just that. But since this is such a huge collar on it, and I want it completely symmetrical around the whole body of that, we're going to take a clump right here. And this is going to fill in the side plates of the jig. So like I said, you're not wasting anything doing that. And I'm telling you, this is one of the go-to baits up at the Arctic Circle for big lake trout. You know, you can still catch pike and stuff on it, but I'm telling you, this is the money maker right here. We call it the Screaming Seaman. Okay, so see how it's not flared out? I'm gonna roll one over into the top, roll the other one down in the bottom, connect those 2 joints together so it's nice and it looks nice and pretty. So that's that one, and then we got one more side on this. So put it back in the vise, come back over here, look at the thickness of the sidewall that's open, and get a good little clump of hair for the sidewall. I'm going to take a little bit more, so like that. Pinch it right where you want to cut it. Cut it. Take any loose strands out, pinch back, flatten it out, and you want to lock it down. Okay, so, and now what I'm going to do, since I'm almost finished, I got a couple more things, but I'm going I'm going to actually roll the thread forward. And like I said, these are my own jigs, so I don't mind about using extra thread to make everything look right and get rid of as much peekaboo white and stuff through there. So now we got this. Okay, now we're going to undo this. See how we have it all clumped up right there? So I'm going to take my thumb again, and I'm going to start massaging that hair left and right and fill in the voids, the little spaces. Ooh. Go like this. Now look at that beauty. So when you look at that, so now it's going to be flared. So when it slows down or it hits the bottom, the bait will flare. But when it goes through the water, that friction is going to make it look completely fish-like. It's going to create that body just like that. So we're not finished yet. I'm going to put this back in here. And then we're going to get some crystal flash or flashaboo, whatever you want to call it. And there's tricks to this too, but what I do is I'll get me about a half a dozen or more strands because I want some good pop. So that's a good little pile. That will pop. I'm going to do a couple more. That'll give it a good little pop right there. Okay. Now I'm going to take this, and here's my little trick. I'm going to cut that. Okay, so now I have my cut. I want to come right to the side wall of the bait. I'm going to try to get it as centered as possible, right down the hook shank. I'm only going to wrap this about 4 or 5 times. Just make sure it doesn't come apart. Now here's the trick that I do, is that way I only have to basically cut one long strand. I come up here, I get everything centered. The top's pretty much even across the top, but I usually still I'll trim just a hair. And then what I'll do is put my scissors there, roll this back down, and I'll make an even length, cut it. So now it's exactly the same size as the right side or left side. Come over here, find my center spot down the hook shank, start it. Once I get 2 or 3 on there, make sure it's centered. And then what I do is I finish off the wrap. I'm going to try to get rid of as much of the peekaboo stuff on the thread. And then I'll go right up tight against the neck just to get 1 or 2 more turns on that, just so it flares. Now here's the key on this, is just you're going to do a whip finish. There's tools back in the day, but I fly tied so much that sometimes you could just make your own whip finish. And what I'll do is I'll start trying to lock this down. I'll do a single, I'll do a couple double whip finishes, and I'm just trying to get this thread to lock down just for the end of the final part that makes this thing bulletproof. So once I got it locked down, cut it, leave a little tag, and here's the deal. I'm going to hold that just like that. And that's why I get these big bottles of resin. Because like I said, when you're up there at the circle, there's no stores. Everything you have is what you got. So I want to make sure that I could catch 100 fish if I can on this one jig without losing it. And if you do it right, you're going to be able to do that. So what I do is I do a good coat, and I really make a thin layer and let it soak in to that thread from the part to the lead all the way to the belly. And then I'll make sure I hit just the edge of the bucktail on the bottom. And then once we get that all taken care of, I'll keep rotating this around because that resin will still flow a little bit until you cure it. Take your UV light. What I'll do is I'll do a quick hit on it, just like this. And then what I'll do is I'll slow down, and I'll do a good 30 seconds or so around the whole thing and make sure all that resin cures. And that's the beauty of this. You don't have to wait for like epoxy to dry or set or it gets sticky. If this is a little bit sticky, just hit it again with the UV light. Now there's going to be some secret stuff that we're going to show next year out on the lake. I'm going to show you some custom trailers that nobody's ever used up there for lake trout. We got to keep a couple things in our back pocket, so you guys will be the first to know over here at the BBZ. But once that UV is cured, which it is, about 30 seconds, turn around and look at that beauty. Look at that sucker. Flared. It's got a good profile. Here's the head. And then when the water hits that, like I said, that's going to flare and make that come down just like that. It's going to look really realistic. So that's it right there in a nutshell. I know this is a little bit extended video, but you got to see it from start to finish. The BBZ Screamin' Seaman. I'll make a little logo for it, but we caught monsters on it this year with that baby. The hook is the key, the head's the key, the bucktail, and like I said, when you see the trailer, you're going to understand what we're going to. But make sure you guys follow us along at the BBZ TV, all the social media channels. This might be around with Fish Lab too, so got to throw out Fish Lab on this sucker. So we're pretty excited about that. And wait till next year. But like I said, if you've never gone to Plummer's Arctic Circles, get a hold of Chuck or Brenda over there at plummerlodges.com. Tell them I sent you, and they'll set you up and get you ready for a trip of your lifetime. Hope you guys enjoy it. See ya. Okay, first fish on. Ron's got mama. Just take your time, buddy. Just take your time. So we're gonna be fighting this fish for a little bit, so hopefully nothing happens. But we're in super skinny water, and I'm just trying to get him back out to deep water. So the boat control is massive, so I just want to make sure he doesn't go underneath the boat. So we're just keeping pressure on him. We got it in reverse. Oh my God! There's his. We're in about 75, 80 foot of water. You can see on the Lowrance graph, there's Mongo right there. That's what we're looking for. Is this the biggest trout you've ever had on? Yeah. Oh, well, let's see if we get him in. We'll tap it in reverse just a little bit.
Now what do I do?
Have fun. Just take your time. You're doing good, man. Just let him do his thing. I don't know if you can see that sucker down there. Oh my God. That thing is just absolutely beast mode. Coming to you. He's gonna run. I can't see his head. In the net, baby! In the net! Hold on. Ron got him! Ron got him! Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Push your rod down.
Dude, that's a tank.
Yep, okay.
It's a tank.
Okay, Ron. Okay. Push her out toward. Oh, wait. Yeah. He's got him with that beast. Fish a 40 pounder. Then we're going to do. Oh, you know what? Let her out of the net. See if she'll swim. She's kicking that hard. Yeah, let's get her. That's okay. Look at that beast. There's your 40. Oh!
Let's go in the net, baby.
Come on. Whoa, there she goes. There she goes. Rod. 40 pounder, dude.
That's it, baby.
40 pounder.
Plumbers.
Woo! 40 pounder. Oh my gosh.